Mr. Juvenal Sansó is an important Filipino artist. Even though he's Spanish citizen politically, at heart he is truly Filipino. He arrived here in 1932 and he knows how to speak our languages to be precise. He knows how to speak Tagalog, Kapampangan, and a little Cebuano, and he understands a little of Ilocano. But the most important thing is that he's a Presidential Medal of Merit awardee. He's also a Knight of Arts and Letters awarded by the government of France. And he has been the recipient of the Cross of Isabela from the King of Spain. So as an artist, he has had over 80 years of art making here in the Philippines and in Spain and in other parts of the world. Actually, I'd like to say that I'm also working with Mr. Juvenal Sansó as the curator of Fundacion Sansó. And we take inspiration in our programs and our exhibitions from his life. And we realized that he used art to expel all of the trauma from war. During his teenage years, he was actually a victim of war and he almost died twice. And he used his art to get over the trauma, and that is why we see the journey of art for Mr. Juvenal Sansó is also a very deeply personal one, and that it is a journey of from despair to triumph, and you'd see that in his works. Aside from that, at Fundacion Sansó, we actually have a scholarship fund for Bulacan State University, for FEU, and for UP. And all of these are inspired by him because during the time that he was a student in Paris, he had a difficult time because of government restrictions in getting money out of the Philippines, and he realized that art making is such a difficult journey and that he should be supportive of young artists, particularly students. So that journey is translated here into our programs. You know, I've been looking at the archives of Mr. Sansó. All of his letters are here, and I realized there is a pattern. Every Wednesday, he would be typing letters. Of course, he would probably, the younger generation don't know this, but when you use a typewriter, you're very prone to error. There's no erase button there. So you'd see all of his drafts here, and before he sends a letter, he has copies of it and carbon copies of it. And one day is really dedicated to just writing letters, so that he's very organized. He would tell patrons and galleries that he would be going to America, for example, next month, and that he would like to meet with them. He's always seeking out opportunity or creating opportunity. But at the same time, his day is structured so that he wakes up at a particular hour in the morning, works for 2 to 3 hours, has brunch, meets people, does all his social work, and then comes back at 5 and starts to make artwork again until 10, regularly for the past, from 1948 probably to around 2012. So having that discipline and the gumption to create works and at the same time to market them, that's something that all artists should learn from. You know, there's this particular quote that a French critic said about Sansó's works, particularly of his Brittany scenes. He said that when you look at Sansó's Brittany, it feels like you're the first person to see a new world created. It's like you're the only person. And when you look at all his works, there's almost no person in many of his works from the 1970s up to now. And that's because I believe that Mr. Sansó highlighted the power of nature, the healing power of nature, the power of nature in its rawness, the growth, the life expressed through nature, through flowers. And I think those are themes that are also connected with his healing from trauma and his triumph over it. You know, when I look at Sansó painting, of course, at first, for example, the works around me, they're all of flowers. But when I look at them, I see the flowers per se, that they're no particular flower. They're his imagination and interpretation of the flower. But later on, I look at how vibrant it is, how beautiful it is, how fragile it is, and yet how persistent it is. These are themes that have been at the heart of Mr. Sansó. His persistence over trauma, his persistence over despair, and his being able to get over them and then blossom and bloom despite all of his circumstances. So I think the ideas and themes of triumph over despair, persistence despite the fragility of life, these are very timeless and anyone can appreciate them at the core. I really like his etchings a lot, particularly the floral etchings. There's this anecdote. He never really liked flowers, Mr. Sansó, but he was challenged by his teacher. Can you make me something, a flower, he said. And the first flower that he made was flowers over a skull. And those flowers actually had the faces of people in very grotesque. So he was able to interpret all of his pain into something as mundane as a flower. And later on, he was able to transform this despair, when you look at it, the grotesqueness, into something beautiful. The etchings really capture that tension between beauty and something as frightening as despair. And only a great artist can do that. We're so happy that we are having this 8 years of Sansó, because people think when they say Sansó, it's only flowers or Brittany. But over the 8 years of his art practice, you would see different things, from his grotesque black series to the landscapes of his Brittany to the abstracts that people don't actually see much of, to his modernos and his Bretons. So in all of this, we see the variety of works that Mr. Sansó was able to capture and how his creativity was expressed throughout this time.